Hey everyone, how are you all doing? So taking a look at the Star Wars The Black Series Return of the Jedi Deluxe Boba Fett. And this figure is so wonderful. There's really no other word that I could use for it. I have the Archive Edition, that's the only other Boba Fett that I have, and this blows that figure out of the water. It's from a lot of people, people seem to be really mixed on this figure, and I don't know why, because it's outstanding, honestly. It's better than a lot of imports in terms of what it can do, what it comes with, all that kind of stuff. And speaking of what it comes with, let's get into what he comes with right now. Starting off, you can't have Boba Fett without his jetpack. This thing looks fantastic. A lot of people were kind of turned away about the fact that the yellow is so mustardy and bright, but this is how it looks in the movie. I mean, like, honestly, the whole figure, like the whole underneath jumpsuit, as well as the jetpack could do with like a brown wash, you know, to make it dirty and like kind of dull the colors a little bit. But honestly, it's not a big deal. Like, because originally I got this and I wanted to add a whole, like maybe add some dirt to it, you know, add a wash to it and make it look dirtied up and all that. But really, it looks just fine to me personally. And this thing's pretty cool. Be careful though when you're taking this out of the package because these are very tight. This one was very tight for me, and I just said, whew, I took a deep breath and I went, all right, let's do this. And I twisted it and I pulled it out a little bit and I popped it out of its like kind of being stuck. But they move around, all that stuff. And speaking of the jetpack, it comes with 2 blast effects. And these blast effects are really good. You got to kind of twist them a little bit and get them in, but don't, like, make sure you grab the actual jet hole area thing itself whenever you put these in, because you don't want to push and then pop it right off or break it, you know? So yeah, you can get them into whatever pose you want with that. Speaking of these blast effects, they can also be put on other Mandalorians. So you can put them on, you gotta just kind of twist it a little bit. There you go. You can put it on the Tart exclusive Deluxe Mando. So that's pretty cool. I really like that these actually, they kind of had that in mind, and I guess maybe thought that we would do that, because we would do that. And they actually look pretty good. So they actually fit in. They don't ruin it by any means. And these look really good. They're the exact same across both of them. And yeah, it goes from a nice yellow to an orange to a red. But back to the jetpack, his rocket also comes out. And this actually ports well onto his back, unlike the Tart exclusive Mando, because that one falls out very easily for me. I don't know why, maybe it's just mine. But he has the 2 little rectangular ports up here and then the circular one on the back. You just line it up and push it in, and it stays in pretty well. You kind of gotta like twist it a little bit, or not twist it, kind of gotta fidget with it a little bit in order to get it out. But it's pretty good. I like this thing. There's obviously no detail on the inside, because why would you want that? But speaking of blast effects, Boba also comes with this cool flamethrower effect, which I really hope that we get like a flamethrower effect. But this thing's really cool. You can see the nice translucent plastic, all that stuff. It looks very well under lighting. And if you look right here, you gotta line it up. It kind of goes up to the side a little bit. You just have to line it up on the gauntlet here, like so, and then port it on, and voila. You got a flamethrower. This is pretty damn cool. It stays on very well. You don't have to worry about it falling off, nothing like that. And it's not too heavy to where it like constricts the figure in any sort of way. Before we get into his weapons, he also comes with this really useless grab. So this thing does not port onto the arm like it's supposed to, because it's supposed to clip on here. You just kind of set it over the hand, and then of course it's going to work on camera, because why wouldn't it not work on camera? But usually it falls off for me very easily, and it's not that long, so you can't really do a whole lot with it, but the edge of it looks really nice. I like this. This has a nice gunmetal and like black wash to it. It's very nice. It'd be cool to use, like if you changed out the actual string itself or figured out a better way to port it on the figure, it would be a lot better. And as for his weapons, he comes with his Return of the Jedi blaster, revolver, gunslinger, you know, Star Wars-ified revolver, essentially, to make it something special, make it something Star Warsy, like what they did with Leia, and the fact that her pistol is like an M9 or something like that. But this looks really good. It has a nice brown wash to it. It kind of has too much of a brown wash. Like, it looks a little too rusted, or like a little too, I don't know, toyetic maybe, I guess. I don't know if that's really the right words to use for it. But I think if you put like a gunmetal sort of wash over this, I think it would make it look a lot better. But it's pretty good. It's kind of rubbery-ish, so be careful when you're pouring it on the hand, because the hands are actually very tight, and I warped this thing to high hell whenever I was trying to put it on the figure. So just be careful. It's very easy to just push back in. Like, you can only see it. You can see it right here. It's just a little warped. Not that big of a deal. And he also comes with another gun, but it's actually from when Luke cuts it in half. So it actually ports together, which is pretty cool. But you just take it apart like that. It kind of would have been cool if this would have been clear, this piece, and it would have been longer. So you could have had, and like maybe at an angle, so it looked like it was like this, like actually being cut in half, not just cut it in half and then it and just fall off. It would have been cool if it would have been something like that, but I like this. This is a cool nice detail that they didn't have to do. I think it's pretty good bang for your buck, honestly. But now let's get into the detail of Boba. Starting off at his helmet, this looks really good. It has the rangefinder, which is pretty cool. It actually moves, unlike the other one, the archive one and the original one. He has a head up underneath, but not one that's painted or anything like that. The helmet's not removable. But you can see all the black wash, or the black gloss rather, the silver paint chipping, all his the lines up here. Got the dent, of course. Can't have Boba without his huge dent in his helmet. Got the red on there. Now, be careful whenever you get this out of the package, or if you see this in stores. It's not that the helmet is really small, because it looks kind of like this, but it's the way they have the plastic. It's very, very like squishing on the head, and since the helmet is a rubbery material, to make it so the head underneath looks like it's actually a human with a helmet on, you have to heat this up. And all I did was run it under some hot water for like a couple minutes, and then I just literally grabbed the front and the back and just squeezed it like that, and it flattened, it fixed itself. So, you know, don't be worried about like, oh man, I gotta find a replacement helmet, or I'm so worried about trying to do it, otherwise you'll break it. You know, don't worry about that at all. I thought I was gonna have to try to like do a whole bunch of stuff, like maybe prying the helmet off, super gluing it back on. You don't have to do anything like that. You just have to heat it up and then push the front and the back together, and it flattens itself out and fixes it completely. And now he actually has something really cool. This figure actually has a lot of rubber, which is kind of strange. I say rubber, but not like rubber, you know, like the overlay, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. Because the helmet, technically speaking, is an overlay because of how the head is. But the torso here is actually an overlay piece over something underneath here, probably just like a gray body piece. The shoulder armor is attached to this piece, and you can see right here, see if I can push on it a little bit, you can see that. It doesn't hinder any sort of articulation. You can get the arm up as much as you want. Of course, you know, as per usual with things that are like this, don't leave it up too long or whatever, otherwise this will be like this, and then you'll have to heat it up and push it back down and, you know, go through all that BS. But the paint is different from the chest, the crotch, and the helmet in terms of the greens, but this is actually accurate. If you look at pictures from the movie, this figure is actually 100% accurate. There's really nothing other than the fact that they could have easily added a wash, which it only looks not, I don't want to say bad, but it doesn't look great underneath this lighting because it's just studio light. You know, it's super bright just to blow everything out, so I can show you all the detail and everything. But honestly, if you took a brown wash, or even if you don't, if you just have it in normal lighting, it looks fine. It's really not that big of a deal. 3 little wires on the back, but the gauntlets look very nice. They have there, but the gauntlets look really good. He's got the belt down here, which I'm so glad that this is not a fixed piece. And he's got this red little sash underneath. He's got the knee pads, the signature Mandalorian knee pads. He's got pouches. He's got his kind of cape thing on the back, the Mandalorian sigil right here, which is painted very well. This thing is not removable, and it's not cloth like it was on the other one. This is actually just a slight rubber piece, which I like this a lot better. Honestly, it's a lot more natural feeling because it's just sculpted. And then of course he's got his little boots with the kind of spur-ish things on them, you know. And now going over the articulation, starting off at the head, his rangefinder, as I already showed earlier, can go up and down. It's, you know, pliable, but just be careful. You don't want to have him fall off the shelf or break it or anything like that. And I don't know how tight this was. Very loose for me, so, you know, just be careful when you take it out of the package. You don't want to accidentally tear it off or anything. The head can go up, not at all, but can go down very well. Can tilt to the side and rotation at the top of the head, or at the bottom of the neck and the top of the neck. But if you grab the head right here and you turn it around like completely, so the line on the back here is at the back, you can actually get the head going all the way up. You can get him in a nice flight pose. So basically you can get as much range as you want if you turn the peg, which that's kind of how the Mafex Spider-Mans are sometimes. And the jetpack does not hinder him at all. He actually has butterfly joints, so the arms can go forward and go that far across, can go that far out, can go as up as you want, but you know, you're gonna run into this, don't tear it, be careful. He's got the little cup things like he had before on the elbows. I'm not quite sure why it's like this on this side too. There's no reason for it. I guess maybe so it matches, so it's not super out of place. But single jointed elbows that go up past 90, rotation at both the little cup and the elbow itself. The hands are not the same joints like the original one. So the hand, this side can go like that, and rotation. And then we have the gun holding articulation, which is, I'm so glad we have that. Be careful, of course, also on this one because it has the wires that are connected to the little cup piece, and you don't want to accidentally tear that. As for the torso itself, it can go back that far, not bad. Can go forward a little bit, rotation to the side, and rotation. The legs can go up that far, can go back, not really, can go out, Pretty decent. Almost do a full split. He's got thigh swivel, knee swivel, the single jointed knees, which we've been seeing, which I personally, I think they're fine. They are very tight though on mine, so be careful. I don't know if yours is gonna be the same. Of course, every figure is different. And then the feet are also very tight. I had to put these in hot water just to loosen them up. So just be careful, you know, you don't want to break your figures. And then of course, ankle pivot, but the foot can go back. I'm not gonna force it, but it can go up that far, and then it can go back a lot more. Just, you know, force it at your own risk. The gauntlets also move. I did not realize that until just now. Unlike previous Bobas, we can actually get him into a two-handed gun holding hand. So you can get him aiming down sight, all that good stuff. And it's not even stressing the plastic or anything like that. So that is a huge bonus. And before we get into the true size comparisons, here he is next to the Archive edition of the Empire Strikes Back Boba. And wow, when you get them side by side, you can really tell this one is so much better. This one does have a little bit more height to it. And you know, if you're going strictly based on height, you'd probably want this one. But I think this one's super expensive now, and it's not worth it when you can buy this for just 30 bucks. So, assuming you can find it, obviously, which I think it might still be available on Target, but I know you can pre-order it like anywhere right now. So it's definitely the only thing that this figure does better than this one, in my opinion, is the fact that the gun right here, since this is cast in black, it's actually the gun has a lot more paint on it. You can see the silver up here, and the fact that this is black. This should be, I'm pretty sure, that exact same kind of color scheme. So, but it is what it is. I think if you really wanted to, you could just switch the guns. Honestly, it's really not that big of a deal. Here he is next to the Archive Bosk and the Black Series Imperial Stormtrooper, the new one that came out last year. And then here he is next to some fellow Mandalorians in the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Black Series Armorer and the original version of Sabine. And here he is next to some fellow Return of the Jedi figures in Luke, Leia, and Han. Luke and Han, of course, have different heads because I didn't like the heads that came on them. And Luke also has Jaina Solo's gun belt because I just was trying out some stuff. And of course, we could not have this comparison. Here he is next to the Target exclusive Deluxe Mando, and technically Grogu over there to the right. But this also works very well. I like this. So overall, I really am pleasantly surprised with this figure. I expected it to be, you know, just as good as the Archive one, if not maybe just a tad better, or he just came with more accessories. And he definitely comes with the accessories that you'd want. He could come with more stuff, but I really don't know what else you could want him to come with. Maybe a flight stand or something like that. But with the all-new sculpt here and all the effects that we get, it's definitely well worth the money. And especially if you're a big Boba fan, or even if you're not and you just want a better Boba for the shelf, this is the best Boba that you can get for a good price. Because I'd say the only other one that really is a contender is the Figuarts one, I think. But that one doesn't really have that much paint scuff to match Return of the Jedi. So honestly, you could really use that one just with like a little more paint touch-up as the Mandalorian version of him if you really, really wanted to. But if you're super nitpicky, like I am, then I think this is a very viable option for you, and you will not regret it. So that's going to do it for me, and actually I'm going to have a couple reviews this week, so stay tuned for those, and I will catch you in the next one.